Classification of relation to export of service section 2 class ఇంకా IGST 270 taking goods out of India or based outside India consideration foreign exchange is not a condition. However, if a foreign exchange is not realized within the time prescribed by the FEMA Act, refund claim shall be recovered. Export of service reduction 2 class IGST Act 2016 LOS in India, LOR is outside India, POS is outside India. Considering the convertible foreign exchange, it can be Indian rupees permitted by RBI. Supplier recipients not merely established such a person. Note supply has been company incorporated in India and the establishment outside India, which is incorporated under the laws outside India, would justify the export of service. So supplier in India, supplying company incorporated in India, establishment outside India, which is incorporated from the outside India, which is qualified to be export of service subject to the fulfillment of the other conditions. The following two cases considered can be considered as INR permitted by the RBI services to Nepal and Bhutan is considered as INR receiving RBI payment credited by the specific rupee Vato account maintained by the bank outside India. Segment 5 exemption. Segment 5 exemption under the GST. A new exemption under the GST, new exemption, the transportation of goods by vessels from outside India to India when the both supplier service or recipient service are located outside India. Supplier and recipient service also are previously taxable and owing Supreme Court decision of Mohit Meral case now exempted any person in relation to the government authority function of water supply, the public health, education, sanitation, conservation, solid waste management, slump improvement and obligation. These any person to government security exempted. Amendment existing exemption. Satellite launcher service by any person is exempted. Satellite launch service exempted. Following exemptions now available in Indian Railways. Interdependence and service exempted. Service by a government to business entities which are aggregate turnover during the previous years on exit threshold limit or registration 1 lakh are exempted. Service provided by the government to business entity where supply is less than 5,000 per invoice in the case of continuous supply service 5,000 per is exempted. Omission of exemption 5,000 given the exemption. From government to business exemption, omission of exemption, consequent acceptable service received with RBI in relation to management of foreign exchange resource exempted, and now it is exempted. Now such exemption is withdrawn. So, service by government in relation to management foreign exchange is exempted. Now it is withdrawn. Classification relation to exemption. Supply of food service and composite service by way of horticulture where the value of goods is not exceed 25% of total CP WD of exempted under the service provided to the government. District Mineral Foundation Trust DMFT established by the government considered as a government authority and service provided by them are exempted. Circular and supply of electricity. Electricity supplied by malls, airport operators, real estate owners, health, real estate developers, and resident welfare education, and example. And then the pay electricity charges we have the members and claim reimbursement. The actual electricity charges from members as pure agent shall not be forming water value collect from the members on the actual basis of electricity which charged by the state electricity board and deemed to be pure agent. It shall not be formed part of the value collected charges from the members on the ad hoc basis and sometimes exceed actual electricity charges. It shall form part of an entire value entirely. In this case, a resident welfare association RWA collects an amount exceeding 7,500 per month, then the entire amount is taxable in 18%. Type must apply. Amendment relating to taxability of advances of specified action claim. Section 12(2) and GST and service TOS and TOS service. TOS in case of forward charge mechanism. In the case of person opting for composition scheme and specified actionable claims, TOS is a DOID or DOI other DOP which is the date of birth whichever is earlier. GST payable in advance in the case of goods covered under the FCM forward charge mechanism other than the DOP or the DOP whichever is earlier. The GST is not payable in advance in the case of goods covered under FCME. TOS in case of forward charge mechanism ADOI written during the DODI ADI which is ADPOS which are DOPI which is GST payable in advance on the goods service covered under the FCME section 13. I don't understand this one. Place of supply. Place of supply. Place of supply. Supply. Date of payment to supplier. Okay, like taxability in advance. Okay, taxability in advance is it? Oh, yearly, which is yearly. Date of advances or date of duration of duty or something. Okay, but yearly. Place of supply, insertion of new section 10(1)(c), 10(1)(a), 10(1)(c). Supply involves movement of goods from registered to ending point to unregistered person location or registered ending point to unregistered person location recipient records of a supplier otherwise location of supplier. Section 1 says supply does not involve movement of supply to registered to location of goods to unregistered person location of the location of a recipient in the supply records of the supply otherwise location of supply. Government like the place of supply and transaction transportation of goods. Place of supply section 12 B2B to B2B lower B2C starting point of goods and later location of receipt B2B B2C starting point of passengers. Transportation of goods, general purpose section B2 where the supply is general location and in the case of B2B is LO and B2C starting point of passenger, transportation is starting point of passenger. Circular on the place in the supply and supply services of the advertising sector. PO is supply of services with respect to advertising sector, sale of space and sale of space, sale of rights to use space, boarding and structure of vendors to client advertising companies to display their advertisement. And then the location of the immovable property space of supply is if you move immovable property in India, I immovable property location. If you move property outside India, let recipient location of the recipient. The vendor provides advertisement service on the hoarding structure owned and taken on the right way. Section 12 general provision of BOI place of supplies. B2B is location of the recipient. The B2C location of the recipient records of supplier if not available location of supply. Circular on the place of supply to co-location services. The PO is a renting of space for its own servers and other computation hardware with the basic infrastructure. And additional service provided by the supplier relating to hosting and IT services such as network connection, backup facility, firewall service, and monitoring and surveillance service cannot be considered as a renting. Cannot be considered as a renting of immovable property. Under Section 10(2), rental provision base of supply is equal to B2B location of the recipients. B2C is could be a location of the recipient, the cost of suppliers if not available to location of supply. No addition to the service provided. In the considering the renting of immovable property, B2 to section 12(3), location of immovable property, the if in location of the IP in India, in the places of place in India, IP of India, IP is outside India, location of the recipient. Amendment relating to liability of IGST of import of online games. Section 4.48 liability to pay IGST on the import of online gaming. Liability to pay IGST on the supplier located outside India and the import of online money gaming and to any person in India. The supplier have physical locations in India. Yes, applying simplified registration by GST. No, where there's any representation in India. Yes, then such a representation can apply simplified registration by GST. No, an appoint representation, register and pay IGST. If such applier is not complying with the provision, then their information or such application shall be liable to block for access. Value of supply, clarification on supply of services or personal guarantee. Transaction between the related party including a distinct person. Section 20 or Rule 20 of goods and services. Recent eligibility 100% ITC or other OM is equal to OVM is equal to TV deemed. 3 recipient is not eligible for 100% ITC on other moving goods value goods. Okay. Plus like kind or kind of quality LKQ or cost plus 10% minus alternative any goods at the portion of the supplier of any supply 90% of the price of the recipient supplies as kind like he unrelated buyers. Recipient should be processed the goods and he should have been sold received. Supplier or services called provider supply corporate guarantee any of the banking company or financial institution behalf of the recipient related party. VOS is equal to 1% amount of guarantee offered to actual consideration whichever was higher. Now, in the case of personal guarantee by direct or company without the consideration value shall be considered as nil. And CBIC circulars as per the RBI circular consideration should be not be paid in case of personal guarantee by the director to company. Director company. Rules of the valuation specified in the actionable claim. Valuation in case of a specified actionable claim. Rule 31B, Rule 31C. Supply of online gaming, including online money gaming. 31C. Supply of actionable claim is casino. VOS amount paid, payable, deposited with the supplier by way of money, money worth including virtual digital asset by way of the other player. VOS value of supply, amount paid payable to the purchase of token, purchase of chips, purchase of coins and tickets by use of casino by way of player. Any amount returned as a refunded by the supplier to the player, including amount paid or deposited with the supplier which is not used by the supplier, shall not be deductible by the value of supply. By winning amount which is used by the player which without any withdrawing shall not be considered as an amount paid and deposited to the supplier, as the amount paid to be deposited to the player. Section input accepted. Amendmented meaning of exempted supply of warehouse goods to any person before clearance of home consumption, including sale of goods by a duty-free shop incoming passengers in the international airport. Circular replacement of parts during warranty. Circular replacement parts during warranty. Sleek modulator section and Mr. X. Parts purchased by Sleek for replacement of customer during the warranty period is 50,000 plus 6,000 GST. And interior decoration services. Okay. And page was the consideration for 8 lakh for GST free replacement parts during the warranty period. The part purchased by Sleek for replacement customer during warranty is 50,000 plus GST. Okay. Mm-hmm. Reversal of ITC for manufacturer shall not arise even if the replacement of part is without any consideration. If right. If the consideration to charge with respect to such replacement such supplier 71A and 7 GST is payable such consideration. Reversal of ITC shall not arise. Oh. If Mr. X buyer from the Lanson Motors paid 15 lakhs was GST and provided free after service 3,000 replacement by 2,000. A sale of car including warranty 3 years. And Toyota car sales car and paid 12 lakhs and paid 12 lakhs plus GST for that. Cancel 15 lakhs. The lands and right or dealer procurement part or replacement 3 by third party and charging consideration from Toyota manufacturer dealer manufacturer. The manufacturer Toyota manufacturer shall pay 5,900 to Lion dealer towards invoice raised by the Lion, and ITC of 900 can be claimed by the Toyota manufacturer. The invoice of the recovery of the cost from Toyota manufacturer after the sale service 3,000 replacement cost 2,000 total 5,000 GST 9,000 18% 900 invoice 5,900 GST payable by Lance and Toyota dealer 900 and ITC available respect of the part purchases 360 2,000 18% G 360. After service 3,000, there's no reversal of ITC required by the Lance or Toyota in case of replacement of parts. No reversal of ITC is required by the replacement of parts. Okay, the total manufacture 5,900, ITC 900 can be included. For 2,000 replacement, he can increase it. But of paying the total amount 900, he can delete. If the replacement part is received from the Lance and Toyota from the Toyota manufacturer, dealer manufacturer invoice for the recovery of the cost from the Toyota after sales 3,000 plus GST 450 total value is 350 GST payable Lanson dealer is 540. Okay. Manufacturer Toyota manufacturer pay 3,450 Lanson dealer ITC 550 can be claimed by Toyota with respect of the above sale invoices. So 360 is equal to 2,000 18% 360 with the respect of the parts procured by the Toyota. No reversal ITC required by the Toyota manufacturer as a replacement of parts. And 100 numbers of spare parts supplied by the Toyota Lance and Chrome dealer 2,000, out of which one spare part is used for the replacement of the warranty period. dealer manufacturer. The Lance and Toyota shall pay to 2,36,000 Toyota manufacturer. The dealer is claiming 36,000 can be claimed from Lance and more than 36,000. Dealer ITC can be reversed by the Lance and based on the credit note issued by the Toyota 360. The invoice of the recovery from the Toyota is after sales is 3,400 plus GST 540 GST payable is 540. Manufacturer invoice issued by the Toyota manufacturer to Lanson. Two parts 2002 and other parts 2 lakhs invoice GST 6,000 invoice of credit note issued by the Toyota manufacturer for one part which is used for replacement of the Lanson motor 2,000 plus GST. So Tata Motors pay 3250 on Lanson. With respect of the invoice, it can claim the in claim for Toyota 550. Apple iPhone 15 Max 1,15,000 including 28% GST. Apple Plus coverage 15,000 including GST. Coverage taken by the player at the time of purchase of iPhone 15,000 plus taxable 28%. Cover taken at the later point of time 15% 18% separate contract. Oh, with including na 28% after no it's a separate contract 18%. Circular on the ITC attributable to Circular number 19/11/2023 dated 17/7/23. The CBA is a circular of ISD and cross value. Either ISD and cross charges can be followed by the head office and distribution of credit to BO. In the case of cross charges, a normal invoice arise from the head office to board head office to BO. TO ratio can be followed while the service should be attributed to BO. CBA cycle service product by the head office to the third party, not procured from third party. The BO eligible for full ITC where the amount recovered and not from the BO by head office. BO is not eligible for ITC. Amount recovered from head office. The value of section 28 open market value amount not recovered from the board head office. No value taxable on except 28. The value under the 28 invoice value in OMV value is to be TV. YU IMTV composition scheme as amendment of the non-applicability of composition scheme SNI some okay what is it service provided whether taxable or exempted other than A restaurant service provider will be service up to limit allowed non-resident taxable person amendment non-taxable interstate supply of goods and service whether taxable exempted non-taxable supply employ supplier of service through e-commerce operator RCM section 94 not paid stock held on the date of opting for compulsion scheme casual taxable person manufacturing certain notified goods like ice cream vegetable oil pan masala tobacco products in area to water and roofing tiles. Mm. Amendment for non-applicability of commercial hardware services non-applicability. Invoice debit on credit note. Section what is relating to online money gaming has been amended. Section for Rule 46 services in the invoice. Less than 50,000 B2B name, address, GS number, recipient, B2C, service pro, e-commerce, or OID, or supply from online gaming, name of the state, the name or the state of the recipient. Other cases, recipient details occur only where requested by them. Greater than 50,000 B2B name, address, GS number, B2C name, address, recipient, including address delivered within the state code. In the case of invoices, e-invoices are limited to be amended. A to B as per the previous 1718 less than 5 crores B2B supplies invoice not required. B2C supplies dynamic QR code invoice not required. Greater than 5 crores 500 crores B2B is required. B2C supplies dynamic QR code invoice not required. Higher than 500 crores invoice required in B2B dynamic QR code of invoice required. E-invoicing application cases applied to government department, PSC, etc. registered only for reduction TDS. Section 2 register under GST compulsory registration section 24 interstate supply of taxable goods other than handcraft compulsory registration casual taxable person other than handcraft compulsory registration recipient under the RCM basis section 93 The compulsory registration eco liability repay GST and Section 9 by the housekeeper accommodations and accommodation, transportation, passenger eating food from the restaurant, e-com liable for taxing TCS of it. Agent making supplies of goods and service and we have the supplier. TCS Section 51 input on service provider. Provider supply located outside India and making supplies of NTR and non-NTR, UPL and URP import service by other than the business accounts online money gaming supplier located outside India and making supply to any person in India. Compulsory registration non-resident taxable person NTPR the contingent compulsory registration supplier of goods through e-commerce other than those who are making any interstate supplies irrespective of the threshold limit persons liable for registration. Note section 23 override section 22 2 section 22 3 section override 22 4 and 24 and section 24 override 21. Okay. A person making supply of through e-commerce operations is required to collect TCS under section 52 and having a ATO of previous year, current year financial below threshold amount subject has been following condition. He shall not make interstate supply of the goods. He shall not make any supply of goods through e-commerce operator more than one state. Declare PAN address and state under the portal for verification. No supply shall make through e-commerce unless a person has been granted enrollment number or successful addition. Enrollment number ceases to be valid on the date of registration granted and registration of section 25. Procurement for registration section 25. Presence of application of time of physical verification of this is not mandatory. The proper officer satisfies that physical verification of the place of business of the person is required after the grant of registration. He may get in the verification of place of business done and the verification of report along with the other documents including photograph shall be uploaded in the prescribed form and common portal within the minimum of 15 days of the following date of its verification. Before the physical verification of place of business of the person is required before the grant of registration, the proper officer shall get into the verification of the place of business and done and verification report along with the other documents including photograph shall be uploaded in prescribed form and common portal at least 15 or 5 working days in the completion of the time period specified in the precise provision. Bank details can be furnished within 30 days of the date of registration and date filing GSTR 1 FFI whether are earlier not applicable those who are required to deduct TDS section 51 collect TDS and section 52. Contravention of the provision leads to suspension of registration. Once the bank details are furnished, the suspension is automatically revoked. Simplified registration procedures applicable to online money gaming supplier located outside India and making supply to any person in India. A risk-based biometric Aadhaar authentication started with a pilot program in Gujarat, extended to Pondicherry and Andhra Pradesh. Amendment to the time period for revocation or cancellation of registration. Subject to application of revocation or cancellation of registration form GSTR RG21 within 90 days from the order of cancellation. Return including taxes shall be filed before applying the registration and cancelled due to failure of return. Proper 180 days from the commissioner of office authorized by him not below the rank additional commission. Proper officer satisfied yes within 30 days from the application revoke the cancellation of order issue form GST 22 and a notice issued on form GSTR 23 within 7 days. Furnish a reply to form REG 24 within 30 days. Proper office satisfy yes and revoke the cancellation of register. If no, reject the application form GSTR REG 05. Aadhaar authentication mandatory for registered person and filing application revocation of cancellation of registration. GST payment process. The clarification of the charging of interest under section 53 in case of wrong availment of IGST credit and reversal therefore CBS circular in the case of the IGST credit has been wrongly availed subsequently reversed in certain date there will not be any interest liability under section 53 provided during the time period starting such an availment and up to the reverse and balance of ITC ECRL under the heads of IGST CGST SGST taken together. He had never fallen below the amount and not wrongly avail ITC even the available balance of the IGST credit. ECLR individual fall below the amount such a wrongly avails the IGST credit. The credit compensation is available to ECRL. and cannot be taken into account until the consider balance of ECR or the purpose of calculation of the interest under the like 88B3 respect of the wrong availment of IGST, CGST and IGST. Amendment in payment of procurement IGST supplier can opt for composition scheme under section 10.1, 10.2E but should not make interstate applies. E-commerce operators are liable to deduct ATS under section 52, should not permit supplier to make any interstate supply, shall deduct ATS and should declare the details of the IGST rate. Goods recipient supplier unregistered and ATO has not exceeded the threshold limit of registration. However, he should obtain unique enrollment number. Goods e-commerce operator shall be liable to deduct ETS, TES, and 52. And the allow supplier goods only after allotment of enrollment number. Should not permit supplier to make interstate supply. Not registered deduction TCS and should declare the details under section 8. And goods is equal to recipient. Classification of TCS suppliers in case of the multiple echoes in the one transaction CBAC plus. Such echoes who finally release the payment of supplier and supplier side equals liable to deduct issues in the e-com involved going to be GST on the commission earned by them. However, in the case of supplier and supplier side e-commerce the same person, then no one e-commerce buyer side e-com then such a required to be deducted. Yes. Return under GST, new rule 80DD when administered criteria 80CC section 80D. Difference in outward supply liability declared on the form GSTR 1 exceed the tax payable form GSTR 3 be such amount and such percentage. 80D difference in the ITC claim credit available in the GSTR 3B exceeds the credit as per the generated system. 82B communication of the communication. Part A GSTR DCR 01, Part A GSTR 001C communication by the uploaded on the portal by email, upload on portal plus email. Response in 7 days. Respond to the file. Part B GSTR DRC01 and Part B GSTR DRC1 option available. Buy the pay the difference, explain the difference, partial payment, explain the balance. Pay the difference, explain the difference, partial payment, explain the balance. If no response are satisfied, answer is the response. Recovery above tax and section 79 liability portion electronic liability ledger SEN under section 73-74. Impact of filing a return access to GST portal. Not allowed to file return for GSTR 1 section rule 59. Once GSTR 1 is filed, GSTR 3 file gets blocked, and rule 138G. If the GSTR 1 is not filed in 2 consecutive tax period, EVA will facility be blocked. GSTR rule 21A suspension of registration. Not allowed to file return in form GSTR 1 59. Once GSTR 1 is not filed, GSTR 3 file gets blocked. Rule 138 if GSR 1 is not filed in 2 consecutive tax period, e-wayable facility will be blocked. GSR Rule 21A suspension of registration. Even if the bank details are not furnished within the time limit of the Rule 10A, it leads to blocking GSR 1. Online money gaming supplier located outside India require file GSR 5A 20th of the month following every month. Like ODID supplier located outside India. Refund under GST. Amendment on export of notified goods and they are not eligible for refund. Government notice certain goods respect to refund cannot be claimed on export with this pan masala, tobacco products, essential oil other than of fruit or some through citrus fruits. Assessment under audit. Amendment with withdrawal of order 6660. Basis best judgment assessment, summary assessment. Section 62 non-filing return. Section 63 unregistered person. Consequences when not filing a return. Section 62 registered person furnishes a valid return within 60 days from ASMT of 13 and 60 days from the late wave of 100 days per day. Such order shall be deemed to have been withdrawn. However, interest is payable. Section 63 unregistered person pay as per the assessment order and before appeal to not satisfactory with respect to assessment order. Summary assessment pay as per the assessment order. If order is erroneous, proper officer may withdraw such a order and follow up the proportion of 73 and 74. Siege orders and offences are another penalties. The amendment relating to the imprisonment and compounding of the provincial imprisonment section 132 ICEBIT in plus attempt to commit and abate a commission ICEBIT invoice default supply without invoice default C collection of amount of tax and not paid in 3 months erroneous refund E books of accounts default ITC default dealing in goods liable for consumption and collecting tax shall be paid within 3 months is not offence or imprisonment, but collecting of tax if not be paid in 3 months offence is an imprisonment. Offence is imprisonment, first tax and imprisonment. The books of account default up to 6 months and fine. Books of account default 6 months and fine in both. Imprisonment up to 5 years in both, fine 6 months. Other offences where the amount involved is greater than 5 crores, 5 years in and fine plus 6 months and 6 months imprisonment. Imprisonment subsequent 5 years plus 6 months. I am first time other offences for the amount of greater than 2 crores plus less than 5 crores. First time 3 years for fine. Next subsequent 5 years plus fine 6 months and imprisonment. Invoice default that issue invoice without supply where the amount is less than 2 crores but between greater than 2 crores but less than 1 crore up to 1 year and amount of fine and 6 months and then 5 years of the subsequent time. Compounding offences section 138 meaning a compounding offences granting immunity for prosecution, that is imprisonment upon the payment of compounding fees by the compounding person. Compounding fees any prescribed by the officer or limited 25% of the tax involved to 100% of tax involved refer below specified provision. In addition to the compounding fees, such person shall be pay tax, interest and applicable penalties. A section of first time compounding invoicing without a supplies prosecution order passed. Restriction of the subsequent person. All offenses section 132 special points. The compounding is possible if the prosecution is not limited to during the prosecution, but it shall not be compounding. But after the initiation of prosecution, upon payment of compounding fees and the proceeding under the submitted. Compounding fees notified under the various offences. Offence amount greater than 5 crores, amount less than 5 crores, amount greater than 2 crores, less than 2 crores. Books of account default amount equal to 25% is the amount of tax evaded and ITC default and was refund. Dealing with the goods liable for confusion 25% of amount evaded ITC and was refund. Attempt to commit offences are able to commission by 25% of the all amount evaded or ITC default was refund. All other offences 50%, 75% of tax evaded and ITC default errors, 40%, 60% of tax evaded and ITC default errors refund. However, where the offence is committed by a person falls under the more than one category specific taxable person, the compounding amount in such case shall be amount credited to the offence which is higher. Compounding amount shall be prescribed. Penalty of the ECO section 122B. Section type of officer and penalty 122 1B. E-commerce operator allow unregistered supplier to make interstate supply of goods. Allow a person opting for compulsion scheme to make interstate supplies. Failure to furnish correct details as per section GST 180. Penalty 110,000 tax involved, whichever is higher. Demand and recovery section 159 rule being amended. Rule 159 of the Revenue Authority and Transport Authority as any other authority who has been accumulated to the movable immovable property as the order of the commissioner shall remove the chain completed or returned instruction from the commissioner and affected expiry of the period of 1 year from the date of issuance order and rule 1 which was earlier. Segment 22 ethics and other provisions. Concern based on the sharing of information section 158. Financial providers users of financial information. Financial information provider, banks, NBFC, mutual fund house, insurance provider, and income tax and GST department. Concern the user concern to share data, records to share data, accounts aggregate and the public tech platform for fictionless credit data flow from end to end encryption data digitally signed and tamper proof real time. Financial information user, cash flow based lending, NBFC, personal finance management, wealth management, and advisory. Procurement under customs, a deferred payment of the custom duty. Usually, the due date of 16 working days of every month can be extended for the central government under the exceptional circumstances. The facility is not available in respect of goods which have not been assessed or not declared by the importer on the bill of entry. However, and once the payment is made on the goods along with the interest on the accounts of reassessment within 1 working day of the reassessment order, the importer is permitted to make a deferred payment of the future assessment. Electronic cash ledger or the payment of duty, interest under Section 51A. Every deposit made through duty, tax, penalty, fees, or any other payment by the person under the provision of the Act, under the Customs Tariff Act 1975, under any of the other law of time being enforced, and the rules and regulations made thereafter, under the authorization mode of the payment shall, subject to the condition or restriction, be credited in the electronic cash ledger of such a person and maintained in such a manner as may be prescribed to the amount available in electronic cash ledger may be used for making any other payment towards duty, interest, penalty, fees, and any other sum payable under the provision of the Act, under the Customs Tariff Act 1975, or under any other law of time being forced, the rules and regulations, and therefore as manner of subject to the condition within the time and has been prescribed to balance in the electronic cash ledger after payment of duty, interest, penalty, fee, any other amount payable may be refunded to such manner as may be prescribed. Notwithstanding anything contained in the section, the board is satisfied that necessary expenditure will also it may be notified exempt deposit made by use of class of person on the respect of the category of goods as may be prescribed by the country notification and form any of the provision of the section. Electronic cash ledger regulation section 22 deposit made by the electronic cash ledger shall not accrue any interest. A deposit under electronic cash ledger 02 valid for period of 15 days. Mode of payment net banking NEFT and RTGS over the counter 10,000 per day. OTC limit of 10,000 per day is not shall be applicable government department upon authorization of customs officer. Deposit on made commissioner and charges paid by for deposit shall be borne by the person made deposit. Upon successful payment of challan identification number can be generated. Amount of ledger can be used for payment of duty, tax, penalty, fees, other amount payable in the customs act and customs tariff act. The balance can be claimed on the refund which shall be paid in the bank account of the importer and exporter. Provision section 51A and applicable in the following cases. Customs automated system is not in the place and the customs expression the goods are imported and exported accumulated packages making the payment other than the duties and customs. IGST compensation is the interest, penalty, fees, any other amount payable in customs act and customs tariff act. Electronic credit ledger EDCL for the duty credit section 151B. The central government may by notification of official gazette for specify the manner in which it shall issue a duty credit in lieu of the remission of any duty, tax, and levy chargeable to any of the material used in manufacture or processing of goods or carrying out any of the operation as of the goods of India of the exporter. In lieu of such a financial benefit are subject to such conditions and restriction of any other specified therein. The duty credit issued by the SBI shall be maintained on the customs automated system in the form of electronic credit duty credit ledger and person who is a recipient of such a duty credit such a manner as may be prescribed. The duty credit is available. The electronic duty credit ledger may be used for the person to whom you issued or the person to whom to be transferred to other towards making payment of duties payable under the act under the customs tariff act 1975 as the manner subject to such condition restriction and within the system may be prescribed. Electronic duty credit ledger regulation 2021. A shipping bill, a bill of export, presented and having any claim of duty under the scheme shall processed with the customs automated system and claim under shall be allowed by the customs as per the condition and restriction notified by the scheme after filing the exports and manifest and export report. Once a claim is allowed, the script's duties credit will be guaranteed by the proper officer in the customs automated system. A separate script will be generated of each of the scheme. A duty credit available to the e-scripts of the ledger shall be used for the payment of duties customs specified in the first schedule of customs tariff of 1975 basic customs duty. The e-script shall be valid for 2 years on the date of creation of the ledger and any duty credit of the paid of e-script remaining unutilized in the end of the period shall lapse. Further, the duty credit of the e-script that shall lapse and shall not be regenerated and ledger, including e-script and transaction made therein. shall be visible for customs automation systems and the custom automation system and recipient of the duty credit and customs. Transfer of duty credit of each group shall be allowed within the customs automated systems and the ledger to person to the purchaser of another person who is holder of a IEC number and issue the terms of foreign trade or development. The duty tax available to each script shall be transferred from time to time. Entirely amount to each script and another person transferred to the duty credit and part of shall be permitted. Foreign trade tax foreign trade policy. Import of second-hand goods. Import of specific notified the second-hand capital goods are restricted using IT system, laptop restricted, restricted, monitor restricted, printer restricted. Import from SEZ to DTA is modified to be recorded. Merchant trading yearly and merchant trading from one foreign country to another foreign country was permitted. The merchant trading within one specific foreign country is also permitted. However, the merchant trading in respect of the goods of CIT cities and commodities items is not permitted. CIT is Convention of International Trade Endangered Species of Wild Fauna understood as comet specific chemical organization material equipment technology not specific. RODPET. Here the following exports are eligible for RODPET benefit, that is not allowed. The production manufacture 100% EOE unit of FTP unit of SEZ are not allowed. However, it's now allowed. Eligible and products manufactured on EHITP and BTP is allowed. The product export and discharge obligations MA and ADI. Non-compliance of mandatory qualification control order. Generally notified goods manufactured and imported in India must comply with the quality control order and base hallmark and ESI, ISO, etc. However, the goods even though notified in the QSC quality control order but imported by the AA holder, USC and SEC is not mandatory required to comply with the QC quality control orders. Non-compliance. Instead of following all these conditions to be fulfilled by them. A holder pre-import conditions are used solely for the manufacture of the export goods, not deemed exports. Unutilized goods cannot be exported but should be destroyed or re-exported. EOU. Inputs used for the export production, no clearance for DTA and undertaking requirement at the time import. This is the import used for export products and no clearance for DTA. Understanding of submitted to development commissioners. Understanding submitted understanding undertaking submitted to development commission.